All right, folks, we're back again. It's the 20th of September, and the days are starting to get a little shorter. High temperatures, not quite as high as they used to be as the summer, calendar-wise, comes to an end. And we're really into the fall festival season now with, movies at the box office being usually not superhero movies, this year being an exception. I think we'll just go ahead and dive right in. And we're going to start with a recap first of Venice, Telluride, and Toronto, now that those are all wrapped up. I thought about doing a video here late last week when Toronto was still going on, because we had our Venice Golden Lion winner. We had quite a few films jump out there at Telluride and do pretty well. And I thought it would be a good time to do it. But then I'm like, time got away from me. And then I'm like, okay, well, now we've got our TIFF winner. It's like we got to go ahead and jump back in. Plus, I wanted to give an update quick on the Oscar predictions here for what I have, because we have a couple of developments. We'll get into those. We'll get into those as we go here. All right, we'll start with the films here. Most of these were Venice. I have them almost in that order: Venice, Telluride, and then the ones that were just at TIFF. I think, it's like, because obviously a lot of these will cross over and stuff, and some of these films have already opened now in the U.S., other ones have opened internationally and will be coming to the U.S., and we'll kind of go from there. So we'll start with The Hand of God, which was at Venice, and that's at a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. Paolo Sorrentino directed this, who, of course, won for international film here a few years ago with The Great Beauty, and had Youth a few years later with Michael Caine and Harvey Keitel. That one didn't quite land with the Oscar voters outside of, what was it, Song? I think that was it. But it sounds like this is one, at least like cinematography-wise and stuff and other stuff, it's like it could make a play if Italy chooses it for its international film contender this year. And, we're always, especially after Paul Pawlowski and last year with, what's his name? I'll come to it here. The guy who did Another Round. I was going to say Vikander, but no, that's not. That's Alicia Vikander. But it's those damn Danes. Vikander? No, whatever. It'll come to me. With Another Round getting in for director, we're on the hunt now for that international film that's going to break in a director next. And Paolo Sorrentino, this would not be a terrible bet. Asghar Farhadi's the one I've got my money on right now, but that one, A Hero, is kind of lost in the shuffle right now versus The Hand of God, which after Venice got a little bit of a push, and now again we're going to wait and see what Italy chooses. As far as I didn't look at it directly, but I believe we're still a little ways off from the international films and countries selecting, the international countries selecting which film is going to be contending this year. I think we'll probably get that soon if we haven't gotten it already, but again, I didn't have time to check here before we got started. So that's that one. And we've got The Card Counter, which was at Venice, new film from, oh god, I'm blanking on his name now. Okay, anyways, but it's God, man, I just got out of the gym, so I feel like I'm a little brain dead up here a little bit, which is not good before we start a video here. Let's see here. I need to. As soon as I see the name, I'm gonna be like, you friggin' moron. Yeah, Paul Schrader. I knew that. But Oscar Isaac and quite a few others in that. That one scored, and it has opened now in some limited markets here in the U.S. in limited release. 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, so pretty solid there. But I don't really see this one jumping very far in the Oscar race. It's kind of early for it to hit, and it's not, I don't think it's one that's going to linger around for way too long. The next one, though, The Lost Daughter from Maggie Gyllenhaal, though, that one might linger a little bit. So she's directing this and writing or co-writing, I think just the sole writer on it. And really the big news out of that one for Venice was that, and I think it might have played at Telluride too, was it did win Screenplay, and also look out for Olivia Coleman to get her third nomination in, what's it been, 4 years? Something like that, because again, it sounds like she really steals the show here as one of the characters, because it's kind of a time story from what I understand. It's like you start with a character younger, middle-aged, older, so on and so forth. But yeah, it sounds like she really steals the show. But I have heard there's kind of a question in some people's minds that there's going to be a question whether she's lead or supporting. But everything I'm seeing right now says she's going to be lead, so I'm going to stick with that until we get a clarification from Netflix, or until we get a little bit closer to the release of the film later on. But yeah, that one I would say, yeah, look out for that one to maybe stick around a little bit. I'm not saying like Promising Young Woman. I'm not saying it's like that, because it's it's got a release date around the same time. But obviously, I think this year, as far as I know, the Academy has not gone back on it. Basically, they have till December 31st again this year. It's not going to be up until the last day of February like it was last year, or this year, whatever. You get what I mean. Okay, next up, Parallel Mothers, which is, I can never remember his fucking name. Pedro Almodovar did this one. And again, possible for that international director getting in. He's been nominated by the director's branch in the past, remember? And Penelope Cruz was kind of another one in this one that got a little bit of a boost. And it is 100%. By the way, both this one and Lost Daughter were 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from the reviews at Venice. And I think Parallel Mothers was only at Venice, if I remember right. But yeah, that one both these did very, very well with the critics that were there. And I would say, look out for this one to be the official entry. I would believe it would be from Spain, and possibly play for Penelope Cruz in Best Actress. Next one is The Power of the Dog, which is at 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. This one was seen at all three festivals, and it was actually second runner-up at TIFF. And don't be angry at me, I cheated on this one. I've already seen it. I guess somebody at TIFF, there was like a screener or something. There were screeners out in case they needed to close up shop, in case there was a huge outbreak of COVID or Delta or whatever. So somebody put it online, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to stream it later anyways when it does come on Netflix. I'm like, I'll get ahead of the pack for once on this one. And I have to say, I'm genuinely impressed with the film. Real quick, just some quick thoughts. Cumberbatch is really, really good in it. He's kind of an asshole. But I don't know. They go into him, I think, just enough to where you're like, okay, you can kind of maybe see a little bit of why he is the way he is. You don't have to, again, 100% agree with what he does or say that, he's doing these things because he has to or whatever. But it's like, he's kind of a jerk just to be a jerk sometimes. Kirsten Dunst, I think, was one of the more impressive performances I saw as well. I didn't see like her season of Fargo, which, funny enough, she and Jesse Plemons are paired up here, and they were both in the second season of Fargo, which I haven't seen. And I didn't see the Melancholia or a couple of those other ones that she did here in the past, almost 10 years now, that got a lot of critical praise. So this one, for her first nomination at the Oscars, I would say it's a pretty good bet right now. She's very good in it, and definitely has some really good scenes. Let's see. Otherwise, Jesse Plemons, good as always. I don't really see anything in this performance aside from maybe one or two line deliveries where I'm like, okay, this is the one that's going to get him the nomination. So I've still got him in, but after seeing the film, I'm a little shakier on it, as I am with Cody Schmidt Mcphee. Let me get his last name correct here. I think that sounds right to my ear, but Cody Schmidt Mcphee, yeah, who really jumped after the film started showing here. And it's true, he's got one pretty good sit-down scene with Benedict Cumberbatch, and obviously I can't give anything away because like maybe 2% of you have seen it, but there's one really good sit-down scene he has with Cumberbatch where he gets a little bit more emotion than the rest of the film. But yeah, other than that, it's a solid performance. Nothing that makes me say, okay, this one gets in for sure. So I'm not saying it's the Christian Bale in The Big Short where I'm like, I don't get why that one stands out, or Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where I'm like, why is that the one that wins? It's like there's every once in a while that happens, and I think with both these supporting roles, I'm a little like, okay, they're good. Are they that good? I don't know. And we'll see. Well, obviously we'll have to see the competition too, because there's still a lot of contenders in that supporting actor category, especially that we just plain have not seen. We'll talk about all the races here in a minute here as well. But and Jane Campion, I thought really directorially did a great job. The cinematographer, I'm gonna look up right now because let's see here. Ari Wagner. That's getting in 100%. That's getting in. It's gonna have to be a really freaking competitive year for that to not get in for cinematography. Johnny Greenwood's score was just perfect for this. Really a really good score. I mean, in his wheelhouse for sure, but it fits the film, and that's really great. And also, one quick thing here. I was a little... the film, I thought, kind of had some fits and starts with its story, though. I think it had a really good, strong start, and held up pretty well for about the first hour, and then I started to get a little like, okay, not much is happening here. It's like it gets a little slow there. As time goes on. But then as the film picks up, and especially when you get into that last 5 minutes, then things start to click. I did read a review early on where somebody's like, it's kind of one of those films where you don't know what kind of film it is until you get to the last 5 minutes. And in this case, I think it still worked. And there's a big, not like plot twist, but like revelation that happens there in the last 5 minutes where you're like, oh, okay. That's what kind of story we were kind of telling here when we got the last hour or so. But it's but still impressive, and especially Cumberbatch is very excellent here. And I don't think he's quite in the lead yet for Best Actor, but I don't know. I can see him kind of getting on a train here, and maybe if Will Smith doesn't quite take off, or if Denzel disappoints a little bit with Macbeth. I've got those two ahead of him right now in the Best Actor race, by the way. Or if, a couple of the other ones that we're kind of looking at here, if they kind of fall by the wayside, then I don't know. I think he's got a path. He's got a path to win here for this. And even Kirsten Dunst, I think, has a chance here. This one clearly is going to do very well at SAG in the ensemble category. Crap, I did not watch through the... Shit! That's the thing I got to remember with SAG, too. And sometimes Netflix really shoots themselves in the foot with the way they order their cast lists. Because remember, every ensemble... It has to be the ones who get a solo credit. So, like, if on the screen it says Benedict Cumberbatch, Jesse Plemons, Kirsten Dunst, Cody Schmidt, Mcphee, and so on and so forth. If it says that way, everybody who's listed singly gets included in the ensemble. If it's like Marriage Story, where it's like you literally had Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, on the same screen at the same time for the title, for the cast card or whatever, it's only those two in the ensemble because everybody else was just like grouped together or whatever. So, I didn't check the end credits there because that happened with Mank last year, and I was like, it's not going to happen, guys, because I think Mank was like 4th or 5th on Gold Derby. I'm like, it's not getting in, and it didn't get in. In fact, the only one that did get in was Gary Oldman, as I recall. So, I should have done my homework there and stuck around a little bit longer than I did, but I'm like, I'm not supposed to be watching this anyways, technically. But, again, don't be mad at me, but I don't know. I was going to have to stream it one way or another through Netflix or whatever eventually, so... I think, obviously of the films I've seen this year, this one's up there. It's really good. I think still 9 out of 10. I think it's kind of like with Nomadland last year, where it's like, again, while I'm watching it, there's a couple slower spots, but once you get the full perspective of the film, you think about that stuff less, and you think about the stronger stuff more and more. So I put it in that way. And it's I think right now it is the top voted one on Gold Derby to win. And being a Netflix film, again, I have to be a little wary of that right now. I mean, we saw Trial of Chicago 7 last year was kind of leading for a little bit there, or was close to leading at some points. It was really close with Nomadland. Nomadland, I think for the most part, actually did lead, but Chicago 7, I think we were all close. It was all our second or maybe third, through most of the race there. And that ended up with nothing last year. So, and obviously Roma, we were all fell for the bait there, but we'll have to see what else comes up here. Okay, moving on to Spencer, and I think, that's the only one I've seen. That's the only one I saw, by the way, so the rest of them, no. Spencer, 91%, so pretty good reviews here for Pablo Larraín, I think is how you pronounce his name, who did Jackie, and that one, it was a little bit of a disappointment at the Oscars when it finally came around, but Spencer, from the sounds of it, I think this is one that might stick around and do a little better. Kristen Stewart, rather, has jumped ahead in Best Actress. She's now leading the pack, which I wasn't too shocked by. Based off of the first trailer and a couple of the early reviews, I'm like, okay, I can see her with the transformation stuff too, really making an impact there early, and then it's really up to as long as it's seen enough and stuff, and clearly it's got to have a little bit more support behind it, I think to really land that. Obviously, Judy did fine with Renee Zellweger in that year. Julianne Moore did just fine without Still Alice, getting a couple additional nominations. But we'll see where this one lands with other lists here. But as far as nominations and possible nominations, but Kristen Stewart, you can almost put in there 100% is going to get in at least. And yeah, it's 91%. So overall, strong movie, and I think again, not too many people were unhappy with it. Next one, I'm going to touch on this one briefly because I don't think it's even been picked up yet. Is Sundown, the Tim Roth kind of I was going to say holiday thriller, if you will, and not as in like Christmas or one of those, but like they're on holiday, they're on vacation, thrillers. 78%, so a fair amount of critics still liked it pretty well, but I don't know, it didn't really seem like a huge Oscar player, but that was one I think was at multiple ones, so I wanted to put that one down. Okay, next up is Dune, which is already opened in some of the international markets and is doing actually pretty well for in a COVID era where a lot of these countries are very different from where cinemas are in the U.S. And even then, I'm a little with Delta still going around. I'm still a little shaky on how many U.S. theaters are going to remain open here over the next couple months. But I don't know. Winter is coming, as Ned Stark always said. But 90%, so it's really solid. Denis Villeneuve's films almost always get that high critical praise, It was in that lower to mid 80s for a while, which is actually his lowest rated since Prisoners, if I remembered correctly, which is funny enough because that's the one I like the best of all of his efforts since. I didn't see the one Enemy or whatever, the Jake Gyllenhaal twin or whatever the hell it was one. I didn't see that one, but I think the rest of them I have seen. And again, this one, I'm still really fucking confused on the trailers. I have no idea really what the story is, even after reading like a plot description of the book and looking at all the trailers like multiple times. I'm like, I don't get it. It's... But we'll, I don't know. And I think some of the critics were kind of feeling that way too. They're like, wow, this story gets, really swept up in itself at times. And you really have to have the foreknowledge to completely understand every last thing that happens. But other than that, I mean, everybody else has been totally satisfied as far as performances, cinematography, editing, sound effects, all that stuff. And I think it'll really knock it out of the park, I think, in those categories. And if it's not the front runner in a lot of those, it's definitely going to be a big, big contender. All right, then we've got Halloween Kills, 59%. So it's, I don't know. Actually, for a slasher movie, that's not bad. I mean, most of those Friday the 13th and the sequels are like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, or like the Halloween sequels, I think, are not too far off from that. There's the rare ones, that do get pretty good ratings. Like even the last Halloween, which is the third called Halloween, but it's not the third remake. It's only the second remake. Kind of. Okay, you get what I mean. The one previous to this, that one I think was in like the mid 70s, and it actually obviously did very well at the box office. This one, they're going with Peacock day and date release, which I think is a big mistake because horror fans came out for Don't Breathe 2, and even though that one didn't have a huge marketing push behind it, it still did pretty well. I thought it was going to bomb, but it actually made over 10 million for that. So like this and kids, horror films and kid films and superhero films we've seen, if they're exclusively in theaters, they do very, very well. Universal, I think, is going to shit in their pants here with this. And I think it's still going to open number one that weekend, potentially. I mean, you got the James Bond, No Time to Die or whatever. That's going to open the weekend before. So that one, if it holds over pretty well and the reviews are good on it, which actually I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing reviews coming up this week or early next week in prep for it. But I'm starting to get a little more hype for that one because it's like we were all ready for it there in March of 2020, and then it's like oh, it's coming out at Easter, and then nope, they pushed it, and it's like okay, well we'll see it in November. Okay, we'll see it. Okay, we hope we see it in October. I don't know. They would be foolish to move it again. But anyways, But yeah, as far as that one goes, really, I'm just talking about box office because clearly it's not going to be an Oscar player. But I don't know. I'll probably still go see it just because I can't resist with a lot of these horror slasher ones. But okay. Okay, next up, The Last Duel from Ridley Scott with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, for the first time in a while, coming back to write a script together. I think they had a co-writer, though. And also starring in it. 69%, so it's definitely got its critics. And again, I was not really blown away by the trailers, and it looks like it'll be an okay movie. Again, exclusively in theaters, which will be, I'm sure, nice for some of the folks, but I really don't see this one being a huge, obviously it's not going to be Gladiator scale as far as box office, and definitely when it comes to Oscars, I don't think so. I think really, at this point, it seems like the biggest play might be for Best Actress for Jodie Comer, but really sounds like even then it's a little bit of a stretch. And then beyond that, okay, sure, the costume design, production design, all that stuff is still going to be in play, but I can easily see it being swallowed up by some of our other contenders here, like Power of the Dog, like Dune, like there's a couple other ones there that could really score, like I'm not thinking of, like maybe Tragedy of Macbeth. I believe the Belfast might even get a little bit of love there. West Side Story will probably get some love there. So, yeah, that's already a few contenders already that we're naming off there. Let's see. So, yeah, I really don't see a very bright future for that one. I think Ridley's going to have to rely more on House of Gucci to do well this season. Next up is Last Night in Soho, which is at 74%, which is actually kind of low for a Edgar Wright film, and I was pretty impressed with that first trailer they came out with, but it kind of sounds like there's a lot of people that just don't really like where the story goes, or they have problems with stuff like that. So this one I believe is going to be exclusively in theaters when it comes out in late October, I think the weekend of Halloween or whatever. So or the weekend before, which it's like right around the week of Halloween Kills, not the same weekend, but like right after or something. We'll see how it does at the box office, and that might get it a little more life. But right now, I think, again, it's going to really take a back seat to a few other contenders here. All right, next one, I think other than probably Power of the Dog, this is the one that I think scored really, really well at both Telluride and Toronto, and I think has really come ahead of the, not like head of the pack, because I don't have it winning Best Picture yet, but I can see it on a path where it can start climbing and eventually can be our front runner. Belfast. Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of the real deal here. Kenneth Branagh really sounds like he's got a winner here. For the first time in a long time for him. Because I remember especially after he did like the... oh, God, do we even want to get into it? Like he did like the Jack Clancy one, the Jack Ryan one with Chris Pine, where he was in it too, and it's like nobody cared. And then he did oh God, do we even want to go into it? Because he was almost like one of those guys where it's like yeah, his better projects are behind him and stuff. Like I think Artemis Fowl he did, right, which was like I believe like one of his, if not his lowest, one of his lowest rated ever. Yeah, and it's like, okay, I don't know. But yeah, I think, I'm trying to think here director-wise, the last time he had one that really, really had a good shot at the Oscars. And, wow, I'm just looking through, I'm like, I'm going back a lot further than I thought I had to. Dare I say it, Hamlet, from 96, or 95, whichever, but yeah, since the end of his kind of Shakespeare period. That's a long ass time for him to be kind of out of the Oscar purview there. Now he was nominated, we have to be fair, for My Week with Marilyn playing Olivier, and he did have a few fair critical hits in there, like Thor did all right with critics and stuff, and did pretty well at the box office. I liked Murder on the Orient Express just fine. Directorially wise too, Cinderella. He did Cinderella, which I know there were I haven't seen it, but a lot of people like that one. And he was in like Dunkirk and Tenet and stuff, which again have their fans, but I don't know. Personally, I wasn't a huge, especially on Tenet. I didn't really care, and him especially, I did not care for. He's only directing this one, but yeah, it's 89%. Was our audience winner at Toronto, which is a really good sign that it's going to be a good crowd-pleasing type film. It is going to be in black and white, and it is kind of I believe a shorter film. It's only like 95 minutes or something, which is, that's fine. But I don't know. I can see this one, having like the ones that see it will really, really go for it. I'm not saying Parasite, because that might be. I don't know if we're gonna say like one and done kind of deal, where it's like just the momentum that one had and the excitement it got from people like me and everybody who saw it who loved it. It's like that was such a passionate vote. It's like, God, I can't even remember the last time we saw an Oscar winner like that just had that passion just from the start, and kind of grew and grew. You could argue Green Book a little bit, but even that had a lot of critics against it, though, and especially some big bloggers and stuff really did not want that one doing well, and it did, and then they got pissed. God, I have to think back on that too. But yeah, I have this one. Yeah, it's definitely going to play well with a lot of branches. So I would watch out for that one to do really well here, and especially off of the festivals here. It really has a good shot to become a one that can easily rise further and further in the Best Picture lineup there. Okay, so getting into some more Telluride stuff now, and then I think the last three are TIFF only. Let's see, Come On, the Joaquin Phoenix, I think Mark Mills is the director on that. Another black and white film, 91%, so again, very well critically received. And yeah, it sounds like Joaquin's going to be the major player here, and coming off of 2 years ago with Joker and a win there, it's like, I don't know. This one will have to be seen pretty widely for him to get in. But I think he's going to be. He's definitely in like the 10. I think that can get nominated at this point. And not to say there's not more that can, but the top 10 for my list for potential nominees. I think he's in there. But yeah, we'll have to see that one do really well with like critics groups. They can really help out that movie. And yeah, if it whatever happens with the Globes this year, if maybe they nominate him, then that would be a big help. And then Critics' Choice I can see going if they have 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 fucking slots, whatever. Yeah, they can throw them in. So yeah, I think it has to get a little bit more momentum, and then I think we'll see him get possibly a good shot at getting nominated. All right, next up is Cyrano, which is another retelling of Cyrano De Bergerac with Peter Dinklage, who, again, really sounds like he steals the show in that one. 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, so again, a couple people weren't huge fans of it, but most everybody liked it enough to recommend it, I think, is kind of the general buzz I got on it. And again, I've got him in still, Peter Dinklage, but I think he has the potential to fall out. Again, this is one that has to, I think, to get nominated, it really does have to go the distance, get the Globe nomination. Again, I'm a little shaky on whether or not even want to mention them, because I think some people will start firebombing in the comments there, but whatever. And then, yeah, Critics' Choice, SAG would be a big help for him. If he doesn't even get SAG, I think he's probably done. And we'll see how BAFTA does their voting and stuff, if it qualifies and everything. Yeah. BAFTA would be another big help for him there. But again, they've got like that weird system again this year, so who the fuck knows with BAFTA. Okay, moving on to King Richard with Will Smith. 92%, so unlike like Pursuit of Happiness or a couple of his other previous nominations, this one has got a lot of critics at its back right now. And it could potentially also get in for supporting actress. One of the young actresses who plays one of the Williams sisters there. I'm going to find her name here. Or I believe it's her. It might be actually maybe like the wife character, Ajan Ellis. I'm going to double check that, because I thought when I looked at it first, I'm like, oh, that's one of the girls. But I looked at the picture again, I'm like, I don't think so. Let's see. King Richard. Let's see here. She plays... Oh, she's one of the tennis coaches. Okay. I thought she might be like... then again, I'm like, yeah, I don't really see... Okay, maybe the mom was not in their life. I don't really know their backstory or whatever. So yeah, it sounded like maybe I thought it was going to be one of the sisters that could get in, but one of the younger actresses. But it sounds like she's one that got some good reviews there. So yeah, we'll have to see what coattails the movie has, because I think Will Smith, just off the trailer and stuff, and just the personality and stuff. Yeah, I think if he goes all in on the the campaign and stuff, and it does well at the box office as well as it can. This is another one I think it's going to be HBO day and date since it's Warner Brothers. Yeah, then I think it can. It has the potential to break into Best Picture. It is going to be, I believe, in the original screenplay category, so it's a little more crowded there, but possibly could break in there if it gets just enough steam behind it. What else? Got Roger Ellsworth doing the cinematography. He's been nominated a couple times, from what I remember right. Yeah, There Will Be Blood, and which he actually won for. And then Good Night and Good Luck, he got a nomination for. So there's a couple names around it there. And who's the score again? Chris Bowers. I think we looked at this one other time. But I believe this would actually be the first nomination for Chris. And it's Chris with a K, so I'm... Okay, male. Okay, I was like... I've seen... It can go either way, so I'm like... Ugh. And a younger composer, too, so I don't know. So yeah, that's that one. Let's see, only got a few left here. Now we're into the only at TIFF. Dear Evan Hansen, which I believe opens this weekend. 47% on Rotten Tomatoes, so not so hot. Yeah, it really sounds like I'm not going to say The Prom, because that one was a little bit more like, I don't know, shaky. But it's like, with this one, it's like there's some critics that enjoy it, and then there's some critics that just flat out hated this movie. Just flat out were like, this is so dumb. This is it's poorly, the message is good, but it's poorly delivered, and it's like they really went on a tirade with this. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really expecting this one to do very hot. Yeah, maybe if it has an original song, maybe, but yeah. Okay, next up is The Eyes of Tammy Faye with Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield. 67%, that one did open this previous weekend in limited release. And it's doing okay at the box office, as well as you can in a COVID era with limited release and all that. Still cracked the top 10, so that's a good sign. And yeah, at 67%, it definitely, again, has its critics. But again, for the most part, it sounds like Chastain is the one that I think a lot of people are big fans of in this one. And plus, one other thing is she does have the miniseries that actually I think was at Venice, too. Scenes from a Marriage, or maybe it was at Toronto or Telluride, whatever. It was at one of these other festivals, which she's in, and it really sounded like a lot of people were a little bit more enthusiastic about her performance there, and I forget who she's paired up with there, but so arguably being on a TV show, helped Matthew McConaughey in his campaign, so for Dallas Buyers Club with True Detective, so yeah, we might see the same thing happen here with Eyes of Tammy Faye. I still have Chastain out front, but I don't know. I might have to just wait until I see the film. Then I might push back on her a little bit and go with Kristen Stewart or who else do I have up there for Best Actress? Well, we'll get to it in a while here, but yeah, I don't know. The other three I have, I'm like, I don't quite know if I want to go with them quite yet. But yeah, I think Kristen Stewart, I've got her in second place, so I'm like, yeah, I'm considering bumping her up, and I just might here in the next week or two. Okay, last one would be The Humans, 87%. This is based off a play, and again, it really sounds like this is one where it's like overall people like the movie just fine. The performances stand out here. So that's Stephen Yeun, who got nominated last year, Richard Jenkins, who's doing pretty well, I think, on Gold Derby right now for supporting actor. I don't quite have him in because I want to know a little bit more about it before I start getting it into a couple slots here and there, but yeah, it really sounds like performance is going to drive that movie. So, yeah, we'll see. Again, that's one I think if it can surprise us and do really well at SAG, at least surprise us at this level right now. I don't think it's a go-ahead to be a big Screen Actors Guild hit. But, yeah, actually, I forget. Yeah, Gold Derby does actually have a SAG part right now. And it's like maybe number 10 in that. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's number 9. So yeah, I think it would have to really crack that and do very, very well, I think, to keep going there as far as like Best Picture goes. If not, we do have 10 solid nominees we're going to have this year, so it could be like that one, Mass. What was the other one I was looking at here a minute ago? It's like a couple of those ones that aren't really high on the radar right now and like huge scope for Best Picture, but could come back and get nominated. Coda, I think, is kind of falling into that right now. I haven't quite seen that one yet, but I'm hoping I'll get to it this week or early next week. And then, let's see, what was the other one I was going to mention? Oh, well. I'll probably find it here later, but still, that was one. Let's see, what else? We've got New York Film Festivals coming up. That starts this week, Friday or Saturday? Friday. And we're going to get our premiere of Tragedy of Macbeth. So that's still my front runner for right now for Best Picture, and yeah, we'll see if that one holds up, or if it's going to be a lesser of a, and it's not quite Coen Brothers, it's just Joel Coen here. We'll see if it's maybe a lesser one from them. But it's like, I don't know, even then it's like Battle of Buster Scruggs, I think most people thought would be a lesser one, but it's like that's still got a couple nominations at the Oscars and stuff like that. See here, I was going to take a quick look here, what else we have. Because I know there's other ones there that we've mentioned. I don't think there's way too many other ones that are going to be like brand new to it or anything. Let's see here. Benedetta from Paul Verhoeven, which I believe was at Cannes. I knew it was at one of these other festivals. And it's been doing okay in the foreign box office there. And it's at 85% Rotten Tomatoes. That's going to screen. Let's see. We have Passing from Rebecca Hall, which, again, I think did screen at Sundance. Yep, Sundance, which, again, I think it's higher up there on Rotten Tomatoes as well. 86. Yep, pretty good. And what was... I thought there was one more. Okay, no, here they are. Okay, there was another list I needed to get through. Okay. Like Come On will be there, Dune will be there and have at least one screening, French Dispatch will be there before that opens in October, Lost Daughter will also be there, and I think that's it, because there's going to be some older ones there, like Sweetback's Badass Song is going to screen there, and then Assault on Precinct 13 as well. Okay, a couple of those older ones there, but let's see here, where's... Didn't I see Tragedy of Macbeth on here? I don't even see it on the list right now, which is weird. Because I know it's the opening night film, but... okay, here it is. Okay, oh yeah, okay, here we go. I was also looking... I was like, Power of the Dog should be there too, yeah. And then Parallel Mothers also is going to be there. As the closing film, actually. Anyways, yeah, Power of the Dog, I think right now it's almost looking like Roma, which I think literally, other than maybe AFI Fest, hit every festival. I believe opening film at Venice, if not opening film, one of the early screenings there. Hit Telluride, Toronto, and New York, as I recall. It literally hit just about every festival, by the way. So, I don't know, that's, we'll see if that brings anything or not. Okay, then a couple other things here real quick that we're going to mention about the festivals. TIFF, real quick, we mentioned the Audience Award winner was Belfast. So that's going to follow in the footsteps of possibly films like Green Book or, what was the other one I just thought of that won, but now I lost it. Okay. Yeah. Let's see what else here. Three Billboards got a nomination there for Best Picture. Jojo Rabbit got a nomination for Best Picture. Last year's winner, God, I can't remember last year's winner, but anyways. It wasn't Nomadland, was it? No, I don't think so. Let me do the Toronto film. Okay, here we go. That's right. I gotta get the international in there, or else it won't come up. Okay, what was it? King's Speech did well here. I guess I can bring it up. I mean, let's see here. Okay, where's that? I thought it had its own list here. Here it is. People's Choice. Here we go. Let's see. It was Nomadland. Okay. Yeah, Nomadland. Yeah. So it's that was our Best Picture winner last year, of course. Green Book was Best Picture. What was it? 12 Years a Slave. King's Speech. Slumdog Millionaire. I think that's back far enough. American Beauty. Those are some past Best Picture winners that were here. All right. Chariots of Fire. I think that's the earliest one. Okay. But otherwise, especially in that more recent years here, like we saw Silver Linings Playbook, Argo, both get either winner or runner-up spots. Philomena and 12 Years a Slave we mentioned. Let's see, Imitation Game, Room and Spotlight in 2015 got a couple slots. Lion and La La Land in 2016. Call Me by Your Name and Three Billboards in 2017. Roma and Green Book in 2018, Marriage Story, Parasite, and Jojo Rabbit in 2019, and those were my top 3 that year, so that was actually really on a big link there. And then last year, Nomadland, and then also we saw One Night in Miami get a runner-up slot, but that one fell short. But yeah, at this rate, it seems like the other one, by the way, the first runner-up was Scarborough, which is a Canadian film by, okay, I don't know these guys, Sasha Naki and Rich Williamson. I don't know, have they done anything that I would have seen or heard of? No. Looks like some short films. So, okay, that was just, some locals, Canadians that win. So I don't know. Maybe that one, we'll see what Canada picks for their film. But, I don't know. Maybe I'll see that one on the list. I'm like, oh, hey, that one was at TIFF, yeah. Third, we mentioned third runner-up was Power of the Dog. So at this rate, it seems like 2 of those 3 had a score. I don't know. In all fairness to Scarborough, we don't know. Maybe that one is really amazing. I don't know. And then for a Golden Lion winner, I was really shocked by this. A film that was 13 years old from M. Night Shyamalan, The Happening. That one... What was that? Oh, no, this is a different film. Oh, sorry. Everybody made that joke. I'm sorry. Just Happening, which is from France, and that could potentially be their entry this year as well, which is actually a 60-set abortion drama. So a little different than trees attacking people and Mark Wahlberg making no faces the whole movie. Oh, boy. Okay. Got to kick it while it's down, right? Okay. All right, so that's enough fun and games with that stuff. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about the order I've got for everything for Best Picture, what else can get in, and we'll, again, just stick with the screenplay categories up till there. So, I still have Tragedy of Macbeth out front right now. It's on some shaky ground here, because, again, like Power of the Dog and a couple of these other ones here, it will have a streaming aspect as far as its distribution, which could be a big negative to the mind of some Oscar voters. Again, even last year with almost every movie seemingly having to be on screening, it was like, arguably Nomadland, because it was on Hulu, is the same deal. But I think on a technicality, it's not like the first streaming film to win, because it did play in theaters first and then got a deal with Hulu after it had played already, as I understand it. If not, it's kind of a separate deal there. So I'm not gonna say that that's the case. So I have that one out front, but again, it can move. I think it can get bounced by a couple other films here. Let's see. In second place, I have The Power of the Dog. Third place, Licorice Pizza, which is our official new name for the Paul Thomas Anderson film. It was Soggy Bottoms before, which I think is a better title, but Licorice Pizza. God damn, I'm very curious now to see what that first trailer is going to be like whenever it comes out, because, boy, I don't know, we'll have to see. And then in fourth place, speaking of first trailers, Nightmare Alley, which is another one with Bradley Cooper, and this is Del Toro's new film. And that first trailer, I think, really, again, cinematography-wise and set design-wise and stuff, it looks like another winner from him. We'll see what the story is and stuff. It looks like kind of some revenge aspects as well, and again, more carny stuff and less like freaks, like the 1932 film, which I was originally thinking from the description and stuff. But then I looked into it a little more. I'm like, oh yeah, this was like a comics series for a while too. Yeah, I have to remind myself of that every once in a while too. So I have that in fourth place, and I think that one could go up maybe a slot or two, depending on Licorice Pizza, how that turns out, or Tragedy of Macbeth as well. In fifth place, I do have Belfast. Again, room for that one to go. Sixth place is Spencer. In seventh place, West Side Story. I didn't see the second trailer yet, but the first trailer, again, still really impressed me. In eighth place, I have Don't Look Up, which has fallen a great deal after that first trailer, which I don't know. I don't know what to think after that first trailer. I mean, wow. I mean, the first trailer for The Big Short at least kind of got my curiosity a little bit. The first trailer for Vice I thought was a really good first trailer of his McKay's more dramatic, if you will, material. I think that was the best trailers and stuff. This one, I don't know what to think. I mean, I don't know. It does look like it'll have some more serious moments, because clearly it's about the end of the world, but it's like, I don't know. It's like some stuff comedy-wise did not stick. Jennifer Lawrence, it'll have to be a pretty popular film, I think, for her to get in, but I don't know. DiCaprio, I think, I don't know. We'll get to Best Actor. I think I've got him in still, but I think on a very slim thread right now, just because I'm not really 100% sure who to knock him out for yet. Boy, and I don't know. I mean, it's a huge ensemble cast, but and yeah, we'll see how it screens and stuff and everything. It's another Netflix one, but I don't know. That might be like one of those, like The Post, that seems like a very obvious play for SAG, but it ends up getting skunked. I don't know about skunked necessarily for that one, but like definitely might underperform when we get to SAG. But obviously it's very early at this point. So I don't know. I bumped that one way. I had it like third or something, so I have it bumped way down after the trailer came out and it kind of sat with me for a couple days. So I'm like, ooh, I don't know. In ninth place I have Dune, and in 10th place I have Coda. And Coda, I think it's one where it's like, okay, it kind of popped when it came out, and now it's already starting to kind of fade away. And I think I'm considering dropping it, but I'm not really sure which one to put in yet, because there's a few I'm considering here. I would still look out. I mean, the second trailer, again, very impressive. Eternals. I know it feels like a long shot, but I'm like, I don't know. I think this one could really impress. So watch out for that one. French Dispatch was one I had in earlier and bumped in favor of, I think, Spencer. I think the rest of them I've had since the beginning. King Richard is one I'm keeping an eye on. Mass I'm keeping an eye on. I had that one in for a while and dropped it. What did I drop it in favor of? Belfast. I think Belfast and Spencer I've put in. So those two I think knocked out a couple. Tick Tick Boom I think is going to be our open. It's either opening or one of the screenings at AFI Fest. So we'll see if that one can land pretty well. The Humans, I think we mentioned. Passing, we've mentioned. The Lost Daughter, we've mentioned. Being the Ricardos, which I don't know. I'm just the fact that we're not hearing a lot of buzz about it right now is not a terrific sign. But we'll keep an eye out for that one. Cyrano potentially. Again, it would have to really have some big coattails there. Yeah, I think that's going to be about it for the Best Picture list right now. In the director category, I have Del Toro still out front, and I think I'm going to keep him there for a little bit at least, because I think he's in that sweet spot right now where Cuarón won his second Oscar after 5 years between Gravity and Roma, and this would be 4 years between Shape of Water and Nightmare Alley. So he's in that sweet spot where you can award him a second time, and as we really discovered the hard way with Sam Mendes, it's really a big honeymoon period for these directors if you're going to win multiple, because Spielberg won his 2 in the space of 5 years. It's I think the longest is like 8 or something like that. It's like a lot of these directors, if you win again, it's like it's got to be quick. If it's 20 years can't go by like between American Beauty and 1917. Let's see, Paul Thomas Anderson I do have in second place. Jane Campion I have in third for Power of the Dog. I think she's actually ahead right now. But even still, it's like, okay, and yeah, you could see the potential for that one. It's like, okay, we could see the first time we've seen women directors win back-to-back years. That would be exciting. And I think, again, she does very well on this film. So if she does win, I mean, it's a worthy winner, I think. From the obviously, I haven't seen the rest of these, but yeah, it would be a worthy win, I think, for director. I think in that case. Joel Cohen I have in for Tragedy of Macbeth, and I'm still holding on to Asghar Farhadi right now. I think I'm just going to hold on to it until there's absolutely no hope, and even then I might still hang on. But yeah, I think a couple ones like Kenneth Branagh is now my sixth one. I think he is, if he doesn't get in, he could be like one of those like Peter Farrelly, where it's like the film gets so much love and stuff, but they just somehow don't get him for director. Possible for that one. That's why I have him out right now. But I can, if Kenneth really Globes, Critics' Choice, DGA, BAFTA, he just nails everything. It might be inevitable. And that would probably, I would say that would probably knock out Joel Cohen, and Tragedy of Macbeth would have to take a kind of step down for the front runner status and stuff. Or maybe Licorice Pizza disappoints. I don't know. Or possibly Del Toro disappoints with Nightmare Alley, but I don't know. After that first trailer, I don't quite think so. I think like Shape of Water, there'll be people who won't be fans of the film, but I don't see it like crashing and burning by any means. See, then you always got Denis Villeneuve to consider there. I am absolutely 100% still saying, watch out for Chloe Zhao for Eternals. That could easily happen, and we might all overlook it. Spielberg, I think, has still got a hand in there for West Side Story. Paulo Sorrentino, we mentioned, for Hand of God. Pablo Larraín, possibly for Spencer. I think he's on the list lower there. Pedro Almodovar for Parallel Mothers, maybe. Ridley Scott for House of Gucci. Wes Anderson for French Dispatch. Adam McKay for Don't Look Up. Let's see here, what else? I don't know. I think those are the like we mentioned with Lost Daughter. I don't know if Maggie Gyllenhaal for director for the first time out, like Emerald Fennell last year. I don't know. We'll see. That it would be kind of a long shot at that point, but at this point, I mean, in the race. But it was a huge long shot at this time in the race last year. Yeah, that film had to open, and then people were like, "Oh, wait, that might get in." So we'll see. For Best Actor, I've still got Denzel out front for Tragedy of Macbeth, but I think a lot of it might come down to, okay, do we want to give Denzel his third and cement him in the crowd with Frances McDormand, with Daniel Day-Lewis, with Jack Nicholson, and a lot of, some of those other ones, Meryl Streep? Do we want to cement him in there, or do we want to give Will Smith his first? And it's like, if we come down to that argument, I can really see Will Smith getting the boost there and being the one who wins. I can really see that happening. And especially if King Richard can get the Best Picture nomination, that might be check and mate here. And of course, it all depends, too, on how the performances go. Because we haven't seen Denzel yet. Will Smith has impressed pretty well there at Telluride. So it sounds like, yeah, he's got that part down. It's just going to be the campaign going forward. But again, watch out for Benedict here. He's good. He's really solid, really good in that film, Power of the Dog. So I have him in there. I have Leo and Peter Dinklage still in here for 4th and 5th place, respectively. But again, I'm kind of looking here. I'm like, I don't really know who to pull the trigger on yet to knock them out. Like, Bradley Cooper is going to be the lead in Nightmare Alley. We'll see. I mean, the Academy they really liked him, getting the nominations for Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, and then 2 nominations actually the same year for American Sniper, producing and acting. That's pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might be a good break time, and maybe he gets just the appreciation of being into pretty high Best Picture nominees, at least at this rate on my list here. Then Adam Driver, House of Gucci. And he's one that lately it's been like every time he's got a good one, it seems like he's in. But of course, that's just 2 big breakout things there with BlacKkKlansman and with Marriage Story. So yeah, again, we'll see the film. Joaquin Phoenix is one I was close on, but again, I just don't know if it's going to have enough to pull through. Again, I have to make that argument with Cyrano though as well. And then Stephen Yeun for The Humans. Again, it's going to be close. I'll think about that one, but I don't know. It kind of feels like, again, outside of those 5 plus 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's like after that, it's a little dead, I think, in this category. From what at least from what we know so far, there might be, there's maybe 1 or 2, that are lurking in there that might come back that we're not really thinking about right now. But yeah, oh, that's one. Cooper Hoffman for Licorice Pizza. That's one I would look out for. If that one scores, and of course this is being the late Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, if he really impresses and does well with the press and everything, and really, and I don't mean that like he's set up to do poorly or anything, but really knocks the socks off everybody, I can see that one breaking in potentially. Okay, Best Actor, I think we talked about a little bit. I've got Chastain in there, and I'm again thinking about putting her in 2nd or 3rd in favor of Kristen Stewart. Then Olivia Coleman, Penelope Cruz, I do have in for Parallel Mothers, and I have Frances McDormand in 5th for Tragedy of Macbeth, but I really think she's still going to get a nomination there. Let's see, otherwise in this category, there's quite a few others I'm looking at here. I did dump Nicole Kidman, just because I don't really see that one doing extraordinarily well at this point. Watch out for Jennifer Hudson to stick around for Respect. I think that's one that'll at least get the SAG nomination and very likely the Globe nomination. That'll help. If she misses either one of those 2, especially if she misses SAG, oof, I don't know. I feel like SAG will be maybe more of a strong point for her than the Globes. I don't know. We'll see. Because even like a seemingly slam dunk like Get On Up, which is kind of comparable to this a little bit as far as release date and box office and stuff, a little bit. I think Respect actually did maybe a little better in retrospect, but yeah, that one didn't do so hot at the Globes. Chadwick couldn't even get in for that one. Otherwise, we'll see more of Lady Gaga in House of Gucci. I'm sure she'll, show up here if the performance is really good. And again, I'm not 100% on the boat for that one yet, but I can be converted. Let's see. Then you've got Cate Blanchett for Nightmare Alley. Yeah, we'll see if that's one for. It looks a little bit more like a fun role for her right now than a serious dramatic role. But it is Del Toro. I mean, 3 of his actors did get in for Shape of Water, so yeah, you can't pass way too much judgment early on that one. Jennifer Lawrence for Don't Look Up, I did bump as well, but I'm like, I don't know. And then, we mentioned Jodie Comer for Last Duel. And then again, after that, there's some where it's like, okay, just the right thing kind of has to happen for them to get in. And it's like Tessa Thompson passing, I put in that. Emilia Jones for Coda. And Katrina Balfe for Belfast are a few of those. Okay, in the supporting category, starting with supporting actor, I still have Jared Leto out front for House of Gucci. Then Jesse Plemons for Power of the Dog. Corey Hawkins in there for Tragedy of Macbeth, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, and I do have Cody Smith McPhee getting in for Power of the Dog. It's kind of one of those, to get in kind of deal, like Judas and the Black Messiah, Irishman, some of those other ones, like 3 Billboards. So it's been a more, The Favorite as well for supporting actress. So I don't know. It kind of seems like one that can happen. Otherwise, I'm thinking about Richard Jenkins. I think if I watch the trailer and stuff and kind of see more of that one, I might be convinced. Jason Isaacs for Mass seems like one that could easily get in. Ciarán Hinds for Belfast was, I think, other than maybe Judi Dench, seems like one of the more solid chances there. Willem Dafoe, I would say, is possible still for Nightmare Alley. I bumped Mark Rylance for Don't Look Up. Yeah, it seemingly on the surface doesn't seem like it's going to be that big a role. A couple outsiders to look out for here, like Reed Birney in Mass, which, he might get a little more attention from one of his co-stars there. And then Richard E. Grant for Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which I think is screened for critics and stuff, because I think it's opening pretty soon here. But that one seems like it was like in the higher 70s. So, yeah, pretty good rating for that. He plays I don't know if it's full-on transvestite or if it's LGBTQ, whatever. But it's obviously the last time he played a role like that in a bigger film, like Can You Ever Forgive Me, did very well, and I think should have won that year. But that one, I think, again, it kind of falls in that crowd of everything has to happen right for him to get in. But I think he still got some good graces from that film, so we'll see if a couple voters go for him there. Then in supporting actress, I still have Marlee Matlin out front for Coda, then Ann Dowd for Mass, Kirsten Dunst for Power of the Dog, Judi Dench I still have in for Belfast. I dumped her for a minute and put her back in after Belfast did pretty well. And then I do have Toni Collette in for Nightmare Alley. It seems like she plays a gypsy or a swami or something in it. Gypsy fortune teller or whatever, kind of that stereotype or whatever. But I don't know, it's kind of interesting though. Because the last one had all the stereotypes, didn't it? Shape of Water. You had the Russian spy, the gay neighbor who's the painter, the deaf woman, the black cleaning lady, and so on and so forth. All that, but it's like all together they were awesome. So we'll see if they kind of do that again with Nightmare Alley, because you've got the kind of crazy circus ringleader, the mysterious carny, you got the swami, you've got Cate Blanchett in there, who I'm not sure if she's like a benefactor of the circus, or if she's like a new, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so it seems again, and then you got Rooney Mara as well, who I had in for a minute, and I also dumped. Ariana DeBose, I'd also look out for West Side Story. Who were the other ones I was going to look at here? Ruth Negga, I think, is going to be considered supporting for passing, but again, we'll see if her and Tessa maybe get a couple things there, kind of like Carol that year, I remember. We talked about Anjan Ellis for King Richard. I'm sure I'll hear her name pronounced correctly down the line. Jane Howdy Shell for The Humans is one that a lot of people look at. And I think she can get into this race, again, if she really hits it with the critics' prizes, really gets a lot of those, like New York or LA Film Festival, or, some of the, LA New York Film Critics Society, I mean. Then I can see her really making a run for it there. But, I feel like that's kind of about it for now for that one. Okay, so original screenplay again. This is a really crowded category here. We've got Licorice Pizza out front for me now, then Belfast, then French Dispatch, Don't Look Up in fourth, and Spencer in fifth. And I'm a little shaky on Spencer. I feel like that one could fall out. Let's see. Then I've got Mass, or as one I had in earlier, but took out in favor of Belfast, I think. Let's see. I had Being the Ricardos in there, but again, I kind of looked at it again. I'm like, unless it's a weak category or it's a higher one up there on like a Best Picture list, like Social Network or like Trial of Chicago 7, Sorkin misses. Even Steve Jobs and a Few Good Men he couldn't get in for. So. So I kind of took that into consideration. I'm like, I'm going to dump him for now. Okay, let's see. I think Mass is the first one I would go with here. Then Come On, and King Richard being in there, possibly a hero. Hand of God potentially could get in here. Maybe Last Night in Soho if they feel it. Parallel Mothers. Pedro has won a screenplay prize before, so I would actually not be shocked to see that one get it back in. But again, it would have to be like. I don't know. It might be one where it's like, okay, if it starts really scoring like international film, if it qualifies and stuff, if it's done there. I'm gonna call that person back in a minute here. And then gets Penelope Cruz in, gets a few of those other ones in, then I think we'll be solid there if that one can do it. And then for adapted screenplay, I just made one change here. I've got Power of the Dog out front still, then Tragedy of Macbeth, Coda, Nightmare Alley, and then I put in The Lost Daughter in favor of West Side Story, just because that one did win a screenplay prize at Venice, and I don't know, it seems like a place where it can strike. I think The Humans is the one I was thinking of before that, and I could come back to that one. Let's see, Passing is going to be in play there. I'm not so hot on Dune or House of Gucci right now, but maybe we'll see. And yes, I think Cyrano's like the last one. Otherwise, I'm considering. I think this is not one place Eternals is going to land. I don't think if it does really well. Unlike like Black Panther, which even though it missed director, it's like and it missed screenplay, it was still Best Picture and all those nominations. Even missed Michael B. Jordan. So I don't know. We'll have to see on that one. But who knows about these Marvel movies and the Oscars. No, I did see Shang Chi though. I was genuinely surprised by it. I was not super high on the trailers, and then I saw the film, and I'm like, it's Marvel. I'm sure it'll still be solid at least. I was shocked. It is actually legitimately one of the best Marvel movies in recent years. I would put it up there. I'm a little lower on Endgame than some people are, but I would put it up there with that level of film. I mean, just frankly speaking, the set pieces that you don't really traditionally think of as like action set pieces, they use a couple of those, and those are really well filmed and choreographed. The acting is pretty good. There's a surprise that comes in about halfway through the film that, in retrospect, it should not have been a surprise at all, but I was genuinely happy with what they did there. The humor landed, I think 90% of the time, so I was actually really surprised. Shang-Chi is actually one of the better of the recent Marvel films. And again, probably the best one I've seen since Avengers Endgame. And that's not an exaggeration. I think it is the best since then. Other than maybe the Loki miniseries. The Loki miniseries did it for me. Minus the last episode I had some problems with, but all right, again, we'll get to Marvel talk some other time. Anyways, so that's what I've got for now. September the 20th, we'll come back probably sometime after New York Film Festival is done, and we'll see what the reaction is to Tragedy of Macbeth and a couple of the other ones there. Almost everything else I think is screened already, so it'll just be more reactions from those films. But, yep, all right. That'll do it for me. So we'll see everybody either sometime next week or in October.